Welcome to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Northfield. My name is Nita Wolf, and I've been attending UUFN for 9 years and a member for 8 years. UUFN is very important to me because of all of you and the inspirational services each Sunday. Larry and I appreciate this community very much. I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary and all those gathered online today. If you are a visitor, either in person or online, we're glad you're with us and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. We have a few announcements before our service begins. You can find more detailed information about them in your order of service. A huge thank you for your generosity during the Green Team clothing drive in April. We donated about 235 pounds of clothing and textiles to the drive, and we sent it to Wherever Recycling. Next Sunday, we launch our monthly theme of creativity with special not to be missed Celebration Sunday. Join Reverend Sarah and a team of lay leaders for our Creativity Jam service. Sounds fun. Today after our service, Barbara is looking for volunteers to help rearrange the sanctuary for Mark Needham's celebration of life service this Tuesday. If you're willing to help, please meet her in the front of the sanctuary around 11:30. Let us move into worship, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to connection in all its forms. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield. The opening words this morning are from Blessed Are We by Andrea Hawkins Camper. Blessed are we who gather with open hearts together in this space today. Blessed are we, the chalice lighters of resistance, justice, love, and faith. Blessed are we, the heretics, the outcasts, the walkers of our own way. Blessed are we, the border crossers, the refugees, the immigrants, the poor, the wanderers of all who are not lost. Blessed are we, the transgressors, the trespassers, the passers-by, the cause takers, the defiant, the compliant. Blessed are we, the hand extenders, the sign makers, the protesters, and the protectors. Blessed are we, the trans women, the trans men, the non-binary, the cisgender, the multigender, and no gender. Blessed are we, the friend, the stranger, the lonely, the hidden, the visible, the authentic. Blessed are we who rise in solidarity. Blessed are we who cannot. Blessed are we who do not. Blessed are we, for this is our beloved community, and this is who we are. Come, let us worship together. The flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we bring this symbol of life together. Its flame illuminates this moment, calling our attention to the path of hope and justice. Please join me in speaking the words in your order of service and on the screens as we light the chalice and symbol of our faith. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. And now the choir will sing the 23rd Psalm. The music is by Bobby McPherson and it's dedicated to his mother. We choose this in gratitude to all those who have cared for us in the earliest days.
Shepherd, I have all I need. She makes me lie down in green meadows, beside the still waters she will lead. She restores my soul, she rights my wrongs. She leads me in the path of good things. She fills my heart with song. Even though I walk through a dark and dreary land, there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her hand. She sets a table before me in the presence of my foes. She anoints my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely, surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in her house forever, forever and ever. Glory be to our mother and daughter, and to the Holy of Holies, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Oh my, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Now for our offertory. Our offering is one way we make our care for the world tangible. Instead of turning away from hardship, we do what we can to care for others. Our Share the Plate donations this month go to Citizens Climate Lobby, a nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots advocacy climate change organization. They are focused on national policies to address climate change. They consistently, respectfully, and a nonpartisan approach to climate education, and they're designed to create a broad, sustainable foundation for climate action across all geographic regions and political inclinations. In this month of Earth Day, let us give joyfully and generously as we are able. You may donate by cash, check, made out to UUFN with offering basket in the memo line, or online with our website, uunorthfield.org. You're invited to give generously and joyfully as you're willing and able. And this spirit, we now gratefully accept your offering. And now with our music is Phoebe Saul singing Galileo by the Indigo Girls.
Hi. Galileo's head was on the block. The crime was looking up the truth. And as the bombshells of my daily fears explode, I try to trace them to my youth. But then you had to bring up reincarnation over a couple of beers the other night. And now I'm serving time for mistakes made by another in another lifetime. How long till my soul gets it right? Could any human being ever reach that kind of light? I call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. And then I think about my fear of motion, which I never could explain. Some other fool across the ocean years ago must have crashed his little airplane. How long till my soul gets it right? Could any human being ever reach that kind of light? I call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. I'm not making a joke, you know me, I take everything so seriously. If we wait for the time till all souls get it right, then at least I know there won't be nuclear annihilation in my lifetime. I'm still not right. I offer thanks to those before me. That's all I've got to say. 'Cause maybe you squandered big bucks in your lifetime, and now I've got to pay. But then again, it feels like some sort of inspiration to let the next life off the hook. Or she'll say, look what I had to overcome from my last life. I think I'll write a book. How long till my soul gets it right? Could any human being ever reach the highest light? Except for the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. How long till my soul gets it right? Could any human being ever reach that kind of light? I call on the resting soul of Galileo, king of night vision, king of insight. How long? How long? How long? Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe, so much. It's a joy to have my granddaughter here to help do music for today. So we're going to shift gears energetically a little bit and just allow yourselves to settle into your seats. Give yourself an unhurried, unclenched breath. Relax your shoulders and soften your gaze or close your eyes. Allow a little smile to form at the corners of your mouth and your eyes. Rest back into this place and this moment as you take another breath. Whatever challenges you have met this week, whatever turning points you have had to navigate, whatever pain you may have been feeling, I offer you this space to set down what you have been carrying. This circle will hold it for you for now. Feel free to pick it up again when you are ready. This circle is a pause, a turning point. You have choices here about what you hold on to and what you release. Tricia Hersey speaks of rest as resistance. We are not resting to be productive. We are resting simply because it is our divine right to do so. This is a time to simply stop and feel, to hear the simple and bold proclamation, you are doing too much. You can rest. You can just be. This proclamation is revolutionary. To believe it and continue to dream up ways to feel and find rest, care, and healing is liberation.
In the presence of this greater love, we use our chalice flame to light our candles of community. We first light a candle as a blessing for the wider world. It is a prayer for the more fair, durable, global economic order for the benefit of all people everywhere and of our earth. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all the simple joys that are sustaining us. And we light another candle in honor of the sorrows and hardships we might be carrying in our hearts, but that have not been spoken out loud. We move into a time of silence. May the truth of your heart be reflected in these flames. Silence. A short reflection. Spirit of life and love. Why is there something instead of nothing? Why do wishes sometimes come true when spoken beneath the stars? Why, after millions of years on this earth, does death still sting? Why is it so hard for people to learn how to love one another? Blessed be and amen. This reading is an autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. And this happens to be a favorite of Ellen's and mine with the various groups we facilitated. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find my way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open and I know where I am. It is my fault. And I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk and I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. The end.
I didn't introduce myself when I stood up before. I'm Ellen Saul. I live here in Northfield, and John and I have been part of this church for about 1.5 years now, and really appreciate the community and the connections here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about turning points and resistance and boundaries. About 8 years ago, in the middle of a therapy session, the client I was meeting with asked me to recommend a book on boundaries. If I'd thought of it, I would have referred her to the poem that you just heard, because that's one of my biggest enlightening points about how we can change our boundaries. I told her I knew of a couple of boundary books, but neither of them had really done it for me. I said, I don't really have one to recommend. And then out of my mouth came the words, but I could probably write one. That was the beginning of a journey. At the time, I didn't identify as a writer. Writing a book was not on my bucket list. But I had come to pay attention to unconscious thoughts showing up without warning. I started writing. As John can tell you, it's been a long process. 2 practice versions of the book have come and gone. My perspective has shifted from I'm trying to write a book to I'm a writer, and my upcoming book is 7 Steps to Boundaries, from Pain to Power. Here are the 7 steps. We'll be checking them off as you get to hear some of the story. I put them on this poster. I know it's not ideal for seeing. I'm just going to read them off. Step 1 is recognize your pain. I think that's like falling in the hole. Step 2, get some help for support and change. Step 3, identify your current boundary beliefs, those rules that you say for how you decide what you're going to do. Step 4, assess your boundary beliefs and choose to keep or update them. Step 5, create effective new boundary beliefs and practice them with yourself. Step 6, practice your new beliefs with others. Step 7, celebrate your changes and yourself. When I was about 35, I hit a turning point in my life that I hadn't expected or prepared for and really didn't want. My husband of 10 years left me after an affair that he'd kept secret for months. My dream of happily ever after lay expiring in the aftermath. I felt devastated at the betrayal. I alternated between hoping somehow our relationship could be healed and feeling hopeless about the future. I was overwhelmed with waves of sadness. I felt very, very angry, although I didn't want to admit it, since anger was such a no-no in my family. I was disoriented. My brain was foggy. I couldn't remember things. Shame felt like a tsunami burying me again and again as my mind kept repeating, this must be my fault. I'm not good enough. I couldn't think how my life could go forward with all the change and loss. I was in so much pain, I didn't see how I could ever feel good. I actually believed I would never laugh again. I was resisting the impending divorce with everything I had in me. The last thing I could imagine was anything good coming out of this disaster. I thought I was losing my marriage. What I came to realize was I had lost myself, and that had been going on for years. That's where the connection with boundaries comes in. A definition of boundaries often includes the concept of limits, like the outside dimensions of a piece of property, or the size of the personal space bubble around a person. In an interpersonal setting, boundaries often connote the ability to say no or set limits in interactions. I've expanded my definition of boundaries as I worked on this book. I identify boundaries as the actions we take to get ourselves through life. These actions come in response to the boundary beliefs we're going by, what we might call our rules for life. These boundary beliefs may be conscious, like I should brush my teeth every day, or unconscious, it's not okay to have fun. They may work well for us and result in positive outcomes. I brush my teeth and I avoid cavities. Or they may work not so well and bring outcomes that are painful or unsatisfying. It's not okay to have fun. It's only okay to be responsible and work hard all the time. Why is my life so dull and unhappy? What I experienced during separation and divorce were multiple situations where my old rules just weren't working for me. Like one of them was, I should be able to make everybody happy. There must be something wrong with me because I'm not succeeding. I began to realize that some of my old rules weren't realistic or true. Every time I said this to myself, I felt awful. I talked to God a lot. Okay, maybe I whined to God. Why are you doing this to me, God? You know, that kind of thing. God and I hadn't been on very close speaking terms for a long time. Had not been on close speaking terms for very long at that point in my life. I grew up going to church, but God seemed very far away. It had only been 3 or 4 years before my marriage fell apart when I finally said, okay, God, if you're there, I'm here. And God communicated back to me, I'm here. If you pray, I will listen. The answer may not be what you want. I was excited to feel connected to God for the first time. I told my husband about my experience, hoping that we could share this in some way and build our closeness, which had been fraying at the seams for some time. He was not interested. I began reading the Bible and other spiritual books. I began talking to God and listening for his responses. I spent some time each morning writing down the thoughts that came to me, a practice my parents had modeled for me. The spiritual habits I was developing stood me in good stead when my marriage fell apart. I had someone to turn to when my husband was no longer there to partner with. I could imagine Jesus walking beside me when I was going into town, facing people who I was sure were judging me because my husband had left me for someone else. I believed that everyone who saw me was thinking negative things about me. I was thinking negative things about me. I couldn't help feeling lots of pain. I had been journaling. When I learned to write to my younger self, little Ellen, and let her answer when I put the pen in my other hand, she let me know her distress. I began to listen to what she felt and respond to what she said she needed. I had connected deeply with step 1, recognize your pain. One Sunday, sitting alone in church, a line came into my head. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Somehow it was comforting to me that there was something positive that could come out of the difficult, painful place I found myself in. It seemed a mystery where that line came from. I didn't remember ever having read it in the Bible, but that's where I found it later in 2 Corinthians 12:9. As weeks and months went by, I joined a different church where I was welcomed in my pain, not judged. I found a support group for divorced women. An acquaintance grew into a friend and gave me the Al-Anon book one day at a time. I started reading a page every day. I found a therapist. Before I had ever identified it, I was using step 2, get help for support and change. One day when I was complaining to God, some novel ideas came into my head. I've been trying to get your attention for a long time. It didn't work when I whispered to you, or when I spoke to you, or when I tapped you on the shoulder. I really wanted to get your attention. Ruefully, I had to acknowledge what I was hearing. I knew what God was talking about. Times when I hadn't spoken up when something was wrong. Times when I had silenced myself instead of saying what I wanted or what I was or wasn't willing to do. What made me choose to be quiet? As I sought the answer to this question, I got clear that my behavior had to do with the boundary beliefs that ran through my head. If I say anything about this, he'll get mad, and I can't risk that. He won't like it if I don't agree with him, and he might leave. What I want isn't of value, only what other people want. Here is where I began identifying the boundary beliefs I'd been living by for lots of years, positive or negative. Step 3. How did it feel when I was silent? It felt awful. Everything in me felt shameful and scared. How did it work when I was silent? Not very well. He got mad anyway. Slowly, I became more conscious of what I was believing and that those beliefs weren't working for me. I was using step 4, assess your boundary beliefs and choose to keep or update them. As I worked with these beliefs, I realized that they came from my experience in my family growing up. In Atomic Habits, James Clear states, your identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with preset beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. I was ready to establish new belief habits and a new identity for myself. I discovered I could choose new boundary beliefs which worked better for me. Instead of, it must be all my fault, I practiced saying, I'm not responsible for the choices other people make. The more I practiced saying this to myself, the better I felt. Less scared, more confident, more adult, less childlike. This is an example of step 5, create effective new boundary beliefs and practice them with yourself. The rubber hit the road when I realized I needed to learn to take no shit. I had to figure out how to respond differently to my ex-husband's anger and controlling behavior. I needed a new boundary belief and I found it. I deserved to be treated respectfully. Then I also had to figure out the words to convey that and a plan for what to do if my words were dismissed and disrespect continued. Resources showed up. I learned the difference between respectful and disrespectful interactions from Patricia Evans' book, The Verbally Abusive Relationship, how to recognize it and how to respond. I learned effective words to use from her and from Dr. Foster Cline and Jim Fay in their book, Parenting with Love and Logic. With these 2 training resources, I wrote out and practiced the words for speaking up in my relationships and holding a line. I learned to back up my words with action by leaving the interaction immediately if it got disrespectful. I was able to incorporate step 6, practice your new boundary beliefs with others. One of the beliefs I inquired in my family of origin was, you only get credit for the finished job. The steps that get you there don't really count. As a result of this, I wasn't very good at celebrating. In my mind, I didn't deserve to give myself credit for anything except the final step of completion. I learned there were other possible boundary beliefs about giving credit when I read Howard Glasser's book, Transforming the Difficult Child, the Nurtured Heart Approach. He taught me the power of energizing the positives by paying attention, acknowledging little steps, and giving credit to all the good behavior that's going on, while withdrawing energy from the negative behavior. Thus, step 7, celebrate your changes and yourself. I love getting excited about each step forward, especially baby steps. Celebrating gives me energy to take the next steps instead of getting worn out the further along I get. And next Sunday at the Creativity Jam, we all get to celebrate together with Reverend Sarah. I can't wait. Looking back on my turning point, the end of my first marriage, it seems as if I was catapulted into a journey of change. It wasn't something that I chose. I resisted those changes as much as I could. I finally had to face the fact that I wasn't in control. I even survived all the changes, and I'm here today. Later in the process, I was able to let go of resisting what was. I learned about resistance as a refusal to stay stuck in my old ways of being and believing. I began to recognize gifts in the difficulties. I was able to go back to school and become a counselor without the complication of negotiating around someone else's upset. I began to be grateful to my ex-husband for leaving when he did, and even to his girlfriend, later his wife, for helping him leave. Thank you. Yes. I recognized that my parents did the best they could with what they had, and that my little self dealt with a lot of pain in my early years. I began to feel compassion for my parents as people with their own challenges and turning points, who often didn't have the support they could have used. One of the biggest gifts was finding myself. As I learned to know and love the parts of me inside, I lost the feeling of loneliness, which I remember from age 3 on. I discovered I could treat myself differently from what I experienced as a child. As I got better at listening to and caring for little Ellen, she began to feel loved in the ways she had always wanted and to grow her sense of trust in me. Now, when things look dark, I can pull out my new boundary belief about life. Probably everything is in order. This has gotten me through a lot. I'm going to close by sharing with you a few words that came through writing with my other hand. So I start out by, one day when I started writing to her, "Dear little Ellen, is there anything you want to say to me today?" She let me know that there were other parts of me who wanted to talk. I had some questions for them. So I've been working on this book, and I've been doing a bunch of writing as I've been working on the book. So here was my question. I just want to confirm, is this book a part of what my journey holds, a gift I'm to put out into the world? Back came, "You know it is. From the start, I could probably write a book on boundaries that was straight from us." Who are you specifically? Who is speaking for us? I am the one who has always been there through all the lives, the one who has learned all the lessons, the one who has walked beside you in each life. Do you have a name I can call you? I am wholeness, your manifestation of spirit, your bit of the ocean of spirit, your bridge of stardust. Can I come to you for help? Always, in any form. I am always with you. We are one. You are wholeness too. This book is you extending your energy out to others so others can feel the support and connection that is here for them. I'm still here. Even when you are doing other things and not paying attention, I'm here. I'm the breaths you take. I'm the air you breathe. I'm the stardust in your cells, the water that infuses your body, the light of your soul. We have never been apart. Rest back into that knowing. Let your body take it in. Thank you so much for helping me to remember. My old belief was, I'm on my own. My new belief is, I have always been and will always be held in the heart of the universe, an inseparable energy of wholeness. How's that? That will do beautifully. Thank you. Okay, so I have to find, I knew this would happen. I would flip one page and I would lose my place here. Hang on just a second. There we go. Okay. So our closing hymn, we're having an early closing today. Our closing hymn is 1053 in the Teal book. The words will be up on the screen, so you don't have to get it. It's not too complicated. So I'm inviting you to have an experience as we sing. How many of you are sometimes hard on yourselves? One or two here. All right. So when I'm hard on myself, I'm operating on a boundary belief that sounds something like I'm a failure or I'm not enough. This song states different boundary beliefs. Authority, sorry. Different boundary beliefs. You are beautiful, you are whole, you are loving, you are a miracle, you are connected. Here are the words. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. So we're going to get the choir to help us with this. We're going to sing it through 4 times. The first time, we'll just all sing it together, enjoying the chance to sing these new boundary beliefs. The second time, I invite you to imagine you are hearing these words from your parents. Feel free to just listen if that's what you need to do to take it in. The third time, imagine your child self and sing these words to them. The last time, I invite you to bring your parents into your mind's eye, including the children that they were, and sing these words to them. And I will cue you as we get to each verse, so you don't have to worry about remembering these. And it's also okay if you just want to listen or just sing without attending to the cues. You get to choose. So please rise in body or spirit. Invite the choir to come forward. How could anyone ever tell you? Hear this from your parents. This one to your child self. Anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. And this one is to your parents. Could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. You may be seated for our closing blessing. May we recognize our turning points as an opportunity and possibly even a gift from the universe. May we resist the urge to cling to old choices out of fear. May the boundaries we choose support our true paths step by step, celebrating our best selves and filling unlimited possibilities with love. May it be so, and amen.
We join together in the words for extinguishing our chalice. May we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet. And now Barbara has a special announcement.
Thank you. Beautiful, Alan. Thank you. I would really invite anyone who is able to stay at around 11:30 today to help rearrange the sanctuary. We have 8 beautiful 60-inch white tables that are in the back room and they're waiting to be set up. We are going to have a celebration of life service on Tuesday for Mark Needham and his family. And then on the following Sunday, it's Stewardship Sunday. So we're going to have some good fun then. So if you can, please come to the front around 11:30 after you had all kinds of treats and good coffee. And if you could stay for a little bit to help me get everything arranged. I do have a plan, so we're all set. Thank you.
Barbara usually has a plan. And we appreciate you, Barbara. All right, rise in body and spirit, and with our hands either over our hearts or holding the hand of those next to you, we sing words of blessing to one another. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everyone who participated today. Go in peace. Oh, they're clapping. Hey,
Y'all thought I wouldn't be back? Yeah. You remember it was just the part of it that took direct power. No, I didn't fix it. It's battery powered right now. Yeah. No, I'm playing the postlude. For anyone who's interested. You only get to realize that you're alive once, and it's the absolute best feeling you can feel. Oh, everything is colorful, it's vivid now, it's wonderful, and all because I know it isn't real. You only realize that someday you will die once, and every day thereafter is a gift. Someday our bones turn back to oil, how soon our souls will turn to soil. It's a miracle that we get to exist. I'll learn the names of all the termites that eat my wooden teeth, and I'll shake the tiny hands of all the worms that squirm beneath. And when I look down past the bug bites at my decomposing feet, turning back into the earth from which I've grown, oh, she'll whisper to me, darling, welcome home. You only realize that someday you will die once, and your memories will wash out with the rain. On all your history and all you feel and all you see, it's only real in the organic matter of your brain. You only get to realize that you're alive once, and somehow that day feels like the first. First you'll grow and then decay, the breeze will blow your bones away. Oh, don't wait till then to realize what they're worth. So I'll befriend the fuzzy fungus blooming from my jacket pocket, and I'll smile at all the maggots squirming round in my eye sockets. They're my brothers and sisters taught